So as today is my final full real day on my pro football trial, being here in this environment, in this residence, I'm kind of thinking as to what my biggest takeaway was from it. What was the biggest lesson that I learned on this journey? It's not going to be a long video, but I am going to give some good value today. So I really do hope you enjoy it because last night, I spent some time just sitting there reflecting, thinking about what I learned. What was this experience? What happened? Literally, like what was that? Right? Like what was that last 2 weeks? Basically, they kind of flew by pretty quickly, and I just came back from a good gym session, so I'm like a little bit pumped up, a little bit filled with adrenaline. So that's a good thing. Good thing for me to kind of come and talk about what's important. So the biggest lesson that I learned from my trial is that I actually need to put in more work. What hard work truly is, what trying and truly giving your all actually is. What I perhaps thought it was in the past in my life, I don't think like truly from a logical based lens, not like this insecure overachiever type of thing. You have to always work harder. I think I'm at a point where I need to put more effort into things. I think working, but like a lot of my days in this trial, I'm gonna be completely honest. I'm gonna be completely vulnerable. I would wake up. I most mornings I'd have a good morning, be consistent, and then I'd go to training 11 o'clock. I'd head out. I'd be driven there, and then I would train at noon, and then I'd be back. I'd eat lunch, and when it's all said and done, it's probably like 3 o'clock. And then the afternoons, most afternoons I'd waste like just completely by whatever it is, scrolling, watching YouTube, like things that aren't really good. Sometimes I do gym workouts. Sometimes I'd go out to the field in the back and play. Sometimes I'd watch a game because there were a few good football matches on, but that's later in the evening. And my problem was I spent too much time on garbage and kind of just indulging this garbage, and obviously having Instagram like downloaded because I want to make more posts and post stories and all that kind of stuff. I also was just on the app for too long. Like I have found that I can't really control myself. And I've also, just kind of thinking about my life and the amount of work I've been putting into things, I also kind of have determined that, yeah, every time I get to like 2 hours, maybe a little bit more than 2 hours, I start to feel drained and I start to kind of gravitate towards that dopamine, towards that YouTube, whatever, towards that just wasting time to instead of working hard, instead of pushing past those feelings. I find that all too often I would just kind of cut things short and not put as much work as I can possibly put into things. I'm not saying anyone should work for 14 hours, 16-hour a day on something. But I think for me personally, I've kind of revamped what it really means to work hard. I used to kind of be okay with like, waking up early, doing a workout, then, I don't know, wasting time in between, but then eventually getting to making content, spending like 2 hours, sometimes more on making the content, and then eating lunch, taking too long eating lunch, then reading some books and doing a couple of other things, and then getting to dinner time, having done everything I've needed to do for the day. But then I look back and I'm like, okay, there's a lot of things I need to do better at. Like if I really want to make something out of my name and make something out of this life, I do have to do more. Like why can't I, like I just asked the question, right? Why can't I make a podcast, then also make like a side video, then make a couple of shorts, post them to Instagram? It's like maybe a max 4 hour process, which is more than I ever do. Like it's not really a lot of time. Like it's not that much more, but I find that there's a specific cutoff that I start to not want to do it anymore. And so oftentimes I bite at the face of temptation, the face of just, all the distractions that exist. Me, myself, I talk about all these things often, but I'm not innocent. And I think on this trial has been a really big point of that it's like I did spend a lot of time just scrolling or just binge watching YouTube videos, really more than I have, honestly, like more than half, just because like afternoons there's just nothing to do once I'm done the training session. That's just how it's structured. It's up to me to like choose, like I have to actively choose to make more out of things. And when I record these videos, it obviously, takes up time and it makes things more productive when I'm reading, when I'm journaling, those kinds of things. But the rest of the time, what am I doing? I really look at myself and I'm purposefully harsh on myself in this way that I do have to kind of change what I think about what it means to work hard. going forward, because when I'm back in Canada, it's not about just, it's not fun and games anymore. Like, this is my future that I'm fighting for, right? Do I want to make it big? Do I actually want to achieve great things, or am I okay with just still being mediocre? Like, I haven't, I've done all these great things, and in my life I've had great moments, but I haven't actually turned it into anything tangible yet. That's the truth. And I think the only way I can is by increasing the effort, and truly learning what it means to actually work hard, to actually try. So that, I think, is the biggest lesson that I learned on this trial, is that there's a lot of room to improve still. You never are perfect. The second that you stop wanting to learn, stop wanting to change, stop wanting to improve, is is the moment where you accept stagnation and mediocrity, and it's the moment you accept that you're going to stay exactly where you are. So I've kind of learned these lessons when I was reflecting yesterday, truly, about what's going to happen. Obviously, as a result, when I get back, I'm going to be deleting Instagram. I'm going to be focusing just solely on recording podcast episodes, trying to make the show better and being productive with things, probably find a job and actually put 6 hours, 8 hours, maybe more into each and every day, and truly demonstrate what it means to work hard in my life going forward. I have to make these changes, and I feel like it's necessary to make these changes. I'm not saying do it all day, but I can wake up early, work for the whole day, get to dinner time, and having got through everything I need to get through for the day. And if I can do that consistently every day, eventually some tangible results will start showing. So upon kind of further reflection, that is truly what I have learned the most, is that hard work is a little bit more. I have to personally kind of just, up the ante, right? Truly just work harder, grind harder, and put more hours, more time into things if I'm really going to make it as something good in my life. So I think that's the biggest lesson, and I think I'm, giving you guys the value. You should all look at your lives, look at the output you're actually putting towards things, whatever you're doing, whether it's a job or you're studying for school or you're training for some athletic pursuit as well, or you're trying to start a business or you're trying to be a writer. Like, truly look, like, how many hours are you putting into it? How many, like, real, proper, fully engaged working hours are you putting into whatever you're putting into? Sorry, whatever you're doing. Whatever you're doing. How many hours are you putting in? If you only look at it, it's like you're only really focused for like 2 hours. That's not bad. It's better than most people, but like, in my opinion, what I've learned is it's not going to get you over the edge. You gotta, like, minimum like four minimum, and then you, like, if anything, you want to do even more than that, and you may want to cut it off around 8ish, 10ish, right? You don't want to, you do want that balance between, and it really is a balance between working hard and enjoying your life. Obviously, you can have the sexy middle ground, which is you enjoy the work that you're doing, so then you're enjoying your life anyway, so you can work 10 hours no problem. But not a lot of people have that, and for the most part, for me in my life, for sure, but also for whatever you guys are on, you should perhaps accept the fact that there's going to be a season where you're working and you don't like the work that you're doing. So it's a challenge, it's pain that you have to push through. But if you do, and the more that you do push through that, and the more that you kind of come out and continue to work hard despite not liking it, the more it's going to translate, and eventually you get to that point where you can have a little bit of flexibility. But you first have to go through the hard grind before you get to the point where you reach that escape velocity. And that's truly, I'm truly stealing that term from Modern Wisdom, Chris Williamson, sorry. But that escape velocity, when you're at the point where you are starting to see real results and you're starting to make that happen and starting to see real success, that only happens with increasing the output. I think, like, there's no world where you should be decreasing output. Like, only if you feel completely destroyed because you work all day every day. Like, you should find some time to enjoy yourself, but don't enjoy yourself too much, because then it can cut into the work you should be doing. So it's a balance that you have to solve. I'm trying to solve it, and I think this trial has highlighted the fact that there's a lot more work to be done on this journey to solving that problem. And if I'm really going to make it in whatever I make it in my life, there is going to have to be a higher output in that regard. So I hope that that was good value. I hope that that's a lesson that can sit with you and that actually is meaningful, and it's not just a bunch of crap, because I know there's a lot of garbage and filler words that are there on the internet. Like, I hope that this idea of what it means to actually try, actually work hard, and pushing those boundaries and pushing past those feelings of drainage and not really wanting to continue, I hope those lessons and that kind of idea, which is something I'm going to try every day to apply to myself and in my own life, I hope that it sits with you and it resonates, and you actually start to make those changes. You start to reflect internally about what you guys are doing, and make those changes to do better each and every day. Again, as I said before, the second you stop changing, the second you stop wanting to improve and do better, is the second that you accept that you are going to stay exactly where you are. So if you're happy with where you are, that's fine. But if you're not happy with where you are, change is absolutely necessary, and increasing the output is absolutely necessary. So thank you for watching. Thank you for watching this whole football trial series. Today is the final episode. I hope that you enjoyed, and I hope that you got some good value and some good lessons from this video and throughout the series as well. Again, there's a playlist for it if you want to relive it and go watch the whole thing from start to finish. I encourage you to do so because there are many great lessons, many great tidbits within it. So thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Subscribe on YouTube and follow on Spotify if you haven't yet, and show your support by liking the video and checking out the playlist, of course. And continue to glorify God in absolutely all that you do. And I'll see you tomorrow. Maybe not tomorrow, but maybe later tomorrow in the day, where I'm ideally in my old setup again. Things kind of slowly returning back to normal. Whatever happens, I'll do my best. But I will see you tomorrow for the next episode of the 365 podcast.